Welcome to Section 1.3, Computer Systems, Hardware and Software. Hardware is the physical pieces of the computer. There are 5 main categories of hardware. The first and most important is the CPU, or Central Processing Unit, also sometimes just called the processor. The CPU is like the brains of the computer. It's responsible for fetching instructions, decoding them, and executing them. The parts of the CPU that are responsible for fetching and decoding the instructions is known as the control unit. The part of the CPU that's responsible for executing the instructions is known as the arithmetic logic unit, or ALU. The next category of hardware is RAM, or random access memory. RAM also goes by primary memory or main memory. RAM's a type of storage, but it's a type of storage that's volatile, meaning that when power is lost, its contents are lost. And you might have experienced this if power went out when you were working on something important that you hadn't saved yet. RAM stores the portions of programs that are currently running and any data that hasn't yet been saved elsewhere. Since power lost, then contents are lost. So RAM is a volatile form of storage, but how do we get around the problem of wanting to store information for longer periods of time and to be able to store information even when power is lost? Well, the third category of hardware does just that. It's secondary storage devices. These are non-volatile forms of storage. Some examples are hard drives, flash storage, and there are different types of hard drives, by the way, but they would all be categorized as secondary storage devices. Flash storage, external hard drives, SD cards, even CDs or floppy disks are forms of secondary storage devices. And the purpose of this category of hardware is to store information for a longer period of time. The fourth category of hardware is input devices. Input devices receive information from the outside world. And I think we're all probably familiar with input devices. Some common examples and some less common examples are keyboard, mouse, and joystick, touchscreen, stylus, trackpad, webcam, a microphone or DJ mixer, a sampler, which I'm told by some students is an input device that musicians use, and a scanner. And the last category of hardware is output devices. Output devices send data to the outside world. Some examples of output devices are monitors, headsets, speakers, and printers. And if you think for a little bit on your own, you can probably come up with some more input and output devices. Putting it all together gives us a model like this. When we open a program, that program is stored on some secondary storage device, and portions of it are loaded onto RAM. Maybe we open Adobe Acrobat. Also on RAM are some portions of the operating system, like Windows or Mac OS, and any data that we haven't yet saved to our secondary storage device. This user also has Excel open, so there are portions of Excel that have been loaded from the secondary storage device onto RAM. And here's some more Adobe Acrobat, so they don't have to be contiguous segments in memory. When it's time to carry out some instructions and do some processing, those instructions are sent to the CPU via this channel here, which has a special name, the bus. So that's how the RAM and the CPU communicate with each other. The data that we send in to our programs is sent in through input devices. And let's say that we get finished and we want to print something out, or we're just working on our program and we're just seeing, the results on our screen, on our monitor. These are examples of output devices, the printer and the monitor. Now you might have noticed that RAM has been divided up into smaller sections. These sections are known as bytes. So RAM is divided into units called bytes, and each byte consists of 8 bits, which stands for binary digit. And so a binary digit, that could either be a 1 or a 0, but it couldn't be a 2 or a 3. These bits form a pattern that represents a character or a number, and each byte in memory is assigned a unique number known as its address. So these different bytes have different addresses that uniquely identify them. If your computer has 4 gigabytes of RAM, that means that you have approximately 4 billion of these, 4 gigabytes of RAM, that means you have approximately 4 billion of these bytes or smaller units of memory. Software is different from hardware. Software runs on hardware, and in fact the definition of software is programs that run on a computer. There are 2 types of software: operating system software and application software. Operating system software is a set of programs that manages the computer's hardware devices and controls their processes. Some examples of operating systems are Mac OS and Windows, also Linux and Unix. We'll be focusing more on the second type of software, application software. Application software refers to programs that make the computer useful to the user and provide a more specialized type of environment for the user to work in. Some common examples of application software include Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Quicken, and games, even games like Minesweeper or Solitaire, are examples of application software.